Welcome everybody to Rob's MetalWorks. We are here at the home studio. It brings us great pleasure to welcome one of the best out of New Orleans. I have with me the man Sammy Douay and Ben Falgoust of the band GOATWHORE. Gentlemen, welcome back to the program. Great to have you here in our humble abode.
Shit's getting weird in here.
In a good way though, right, Sammy?
I don't know just yet.
Yeah, no, it's in a good way right now. Of course. Yeah.
Welcome, guys. Thank you for coming over here and taking the time out of your day while you're here in San Antonio to visit with us. You know, it's kind of a little of an awkward time because your last record came out already, it seems like a couple of years ago, and it doesn't seem like it's been that long. Does it seem like it's been a while since the Constricting record?
I feel like it's only been like a year or under that, you know. But that's what happens. Like, especially in 2015, we were on the road a lot. Like between Australia and Europe and the States, it just flew by all of 2015. So I think maybe that aspect of the whole album cycle, you lose that and you feel like it, you know, it came out or whatever. So.
As we talk about, you know, I don't want to spend too much time talking about that release because obviously, you know, it's about the time for a new GOATWHORE record because it seems like at least for the last few years that you guys have been pumping out a new record every couple of years. So, but I do want to say this about that release. It kind of seems like as long as the career of GOATWHORE has been going on, that record really represents a pinnacle for the band. It seemed like not only was it the best musically, but also the best production-wise, and also just the best kind of commercially. It seems that you guys obviously were staying busy because of that record. Do you feel that way about the release?
No, I definitely think it shows the element of the growth of the band. You know, as Sammy as a guitar player, Zach as a drummer, everybody involved, and the growth and the experience gained and stuff like that, and all of it's in there, and it's the element of it. You know, and it's mixture of everything we've done from the first record we ever did all the way until now, and the evolution of what GOATWHORE is and how GOATWHORE is forming its sound, in a sense. I mean, when we started, we have our influences, you know, the Celtic Frost, the Venom, things like that. But as you go along, those influences start to bleed away and you start to emerge in your own kind of aspect. So I think that's what it is, too. You know, it's a mixture of all those different kind of things happening. People being more skilled as they go along, and you know, everybody's growing and evolving. We're getting older. We're drinking more, and we're doing more fucked up things. So, and you know, and the thing is we're not, as we go along too. Especially, I know we're gonna get to talk about like the new material that we're about to go do. But even like doing the new material, it's just as aggressive in anything. We're not like getting older and we're stepping back and being like, oh, we're gonna slow things down here. It seems like it's getting more intense and stepping over the line even more as we're going along as well.
And Sammy, I mean, I would guess part of that too has been your growing fan base. And I remember the last time I hooked up with Sammy was at the first annual Housecore Harlem Film Festival back in 2013 or something like that. And that was right before, I think, right at the time when you guys were working on the Constricting record. I think, you know, Eric was there at that show.
About to go, either we just recorded it and it was about to be released, or we are about to go in and record it. I forget.
I think it was you guys had already recorded. It was about to be released.
Yeah.
And it seems like the fans' reception too is. I mean, your fan base has continued to grow. I mean, I know that you guys have your diehard fans who will come out, and of course, you know, we expect to see all those people tonight at the Corova.
Yeah, I hope so.
So, you know, obviously you guys did extensive touring. Any highlights for the tour support that you did for Constrict? Anything that sticks in your mind?
Well, we literally went around the world in a period of a couple of months. Yeah. We started in the U.S., we started in the United States, and then we had like a week off. Then we flew to Australia for 3 weeks. We were in Australia, and we flew from Australia straight to Europe. We had like a 2-day flight, and then we came home after Europe. It was like a couple of weeks in Europe after that. So it was literally, we flew around the freaking world.
But then when we came home, we were only home for like a week and a half or so, and then we did that thing in the States it was that tour with Black Breath and Ringworm and Theory. So we had done that. That was like our first like official headlining tour that we had ever really done. I mean, we do, you know how we do, we'll do like things like this where we'll do little small runs and we do stuff, and we are headlining, but we never really did like a full package headlining, got bands along with us that, you know, that we were interested in and stuff like that. It was all just kind of little sporadic little things you do, like little weekend warrior type stuff, you know.
And that's you guys are on this run right now with Austin band called Blood Royale. Just started a few days ago. How long will this tour last?
It's just a couple of weeks. We're going out to California to do the Ozfest thing, you know,
nice.
Black Sabbath's last West Coast show and everything, you know. But so we, instead of just hauling all the way out to California and then back home, we figured we'd build like a couple of weeks of shows around it. And then we, you know, JT and the guys in the Blood Royale, we've known those guys for a while, so we figured we'd bring some friends along for the little jaunt, and they can do.
It makes it easier when you have friends with you and not some band of some dudes that you don't know and they're all weird and stuff. Yeah, you bring a band out of you, friends that you've been knowing for years, you know what to expect.
Yeah.
And TA, who plays bass with us now, he lives with JT.
Okay.
They've lived together for a long time because TA's from Austin, and so that's another little addition to it too. You know,
Kind of like a little touring family.
yeah, exactly.
Sweet. That's all good that way. Now, before we start talking about the new music, obviously you guys have had a long relationship with Metal Blade. Now they've kind of been releasing your records, and we were talking about, you know, different record labels off camera and some good things and bad things about you know, what's happening in the industry and what you know, some of these labels can do in supporting you or hindering you. Talk a little bit about, obviously I'm assuming that the new record will be on Metal Blade Records. Have you kind of enjoyed the relationship and the support that the band has been getting from Metal Blade?
Yeah, I mean, overall, everything's been fairly well, you know. I mean, the industry's changed a lot, and in just the last 6 years, much less 10, 15 years, you know, everything's changed a lot. There's no money there, so a lot of labels don't have a lot of money to put towards bands, so you have to, you know, sort out. But the thing about it was we've always been internally, like, self-sufficient on a financial thing. So we've always worked hard, done a lot of shows, put the show money towards things to kind of keep things moving forward. So that was always a beneficial thing. So whenever the label starts cutting budgets down the line because the way the whole record sales thing's going and stuff like that, we were already in that zone, so it didn't really matter because we were already working and funding ourselves in a lot of aspects. So, but overall, I mean, you know, they do what the label does. They put the record out. They, you know, do publicity behind it and things like that. You know, it's just how things are now. I can't, you know, there's so many. Can I curse?
Sure you can.
So yeah, there's fucking a lot of fucking bands out there nowadays, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to some friends recently, you know, like when we were growing up and we're doing like tape trading and all that stuff back when we were younger. And we were like, you know, it was hard then, but really, it seems like it's harder now because there's so many bands out there that you're going up against to play shows. Like if you look at towns like San Antonio and Austin and bigger towns that get shows, they'll have like 6 shows during a whole week, you know, and people really don't have money for that, to go to every single show every single night or buy every record that comes out every week, you know. And I think I was talking to somebody that does publicity stuff for some metal labels, and they're like, there's like on an average of 50 records a week that come out in metal.
Yeah.
That's like 200 records a month. All right, that's all like the craziest little underground stuff, all the way to the highest thing that they might put out. And you know, and there's like hardly anybody that has money to buy 200 records a month at say $15 a pop.
Sure.
You know, so it's like it's definitely a tougher time now because of that aspect and because there are so many bands and so much going on with all of that.
But with the continued interest, I guess, you know, as long as people are getting to hear your new music, whether they're paying for it or not, or however they're getting it in their hands, they're coming out to the shows and continuing to support.
I totally, you know, I don't care how people, whatever route they take to hear our stuff, as long as they come out and they support things there, whether they're buying CDs at the show or buying shirts or whatever we have, and they're coming out to do it. I don't care as long as they come out and support it, and that's it. I want people to know the material.
Yeah.
I don't want them to come there and learn the material right there. I want them to be ready.
Yeah.
Be ready to have a good time and fucking go completely crazy.
So let's talk a little bit. Obviously, you know, you guys have kind of transcended just you're having an American audience now. Sammy just mentioned Australia and Europe. How do you kind of feel the same way about what's happening in the States and in versus what's happening in Europe?
It's completely different. It's how can I say this without insulting anyone?
You've never been afraid to do that off camera?
Off camera.
Off camera.
It seems like the European audience is more passionate about metal in general compared to like the metal scene in the U.S. There, it's not everyone, but I'm gonna say a lot of the people that call themselves metalheads nowadays. It's like they're into it. They're not as passionate as the European audience is, or even like the Australian audience. It's like they are very, very serious about it. To whereas like the U.S. scene is more flavor of the week based, I guess you can say. You know, it's more trend based, I guess you can say. You know, well, I'm not talking about our fans, but in general, the metal scene in general. You know, it's very different.
To me, it's just always kind of seemed like the just in the European market itself treats heavy metal more like a real art form.
Yes.
It's not some underground snafu. It's a real art form, and they really treat it like that.
Yeah, no, it is. It's very much so. It's just a weird thing. I mean, it's not a weird thing. It's fucking awesome, actually. It's just like it's an everyday thing for them. I mean, and you'll go places and they'll be playing like. It's not like you go like in a store here and they're playing like Five Finger Death Punch. Yeah. You can go in someplace there and they're playing like Flotsam and Jets and Doomsday for the Deceiver or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And they have these disco things at night after the shows. But when you say disco, it's not like disco music. It's metal.
Yeah, they'll be playing metal, and they'll have groups of dudes, like 5 dudes, hanging out with a beer in their hand, and they're in a circle on the dance floor, banging their heads.
Wow. But it's called a metal disco.
It's called a metal disco.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's awesome, you know?
Yeah,
it's fucking really awesome.
Everybody's just after the show hanging out at the metal disco, just not dancing on the dance floor, standing around headbanging.
Wow. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
we should start one of those here.
A metal disco, man.
Metal disco.
Too, there is, even like when we were growing up, you saw like a band like Entombed and how young they were when they put Left Hand Path out. And you see a lot of younger bands in Europe that are like really fucking good. Like you're like, holy shit. And these kids are like 16, 17 years old. You don't see many of that in bands like that in the U.S. All the guys are usually like, the youngest ones are like in their early 20s, maybe on the cusp of turning 20, but they got all these young kids that are just like die hard about it, that are like 15, 14, you know?
And they're really advanced musically, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, shit, what have I been doing? I was sitting on my ass for fucking too long.
It's like, that's what I was explaining earlier. It's like they're extremely passionate about it over there, you know? They're not gonna fuck around, you know? The kids that are into it, they take it extremely seriously.
Not just the fans, but the musicians.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think all in all, it works together in that aspect, and it makes it that. And they've always had the festival thing for the longest time, and people like make deals out. You know, like that's the summer vacation thing, is to go to these festivals and everything and support all these things. And it's crazy when you go.
Dudes take off of work for like a month and go to every festival in Europe.
Wow.
It's fucking crazy.
That is crazy. Cool. Well, jeez, I'm getting jealous over here. For all of us who have to go to work tomorrow. Okay, so let's talk about new music. Like I said earlier, you know, Blood of the Master came out in 2012. Constricting 2014. Is 2016 the year for a new GOATWHORE record?
Actually, it'll be 2017. Okay. We're going in to record coming up in October, but the record won't probably come out until I'd say like March, April of 2017.
Has all the is everything kind of been written already? You guys just ready to record?
Yeah, the music is pretty much done. The lyrics are starting to trickle in. You know what I mean? And Black Metal Slayers.
There you go. Some old school influence there.
And just a few minor things are left to be done on the album, you know.
Yeah.
But the bulk of it is finished.
So let's talk about some of that new music. Is it kind of, can we expect it to be along the same vein as Constricting? You kind of alluded to a little while ago that it's you trying to change it up a little bit, or
Change it up. I just some elements I think come back because I think there's some elements of like the intensity of like a haunting curse that I feel like that's involved with it. But the thing is I think it has aspects of everything going down the line what GOATWHORE has been doing. You know what I'm saying? So then every record we do has pieces from all those other records kind of in there in little spots. So all of it is just like that. And then I think it all changes. As far as like an artist or a musician goes, everything depends on emotional situations, what you're influenced by at a certain point of time, things like that. And all of that plays a part in the structure when you're writing. I mean, you could easily, you know, the listener is going to have their own opinion of it, but you as the person that's writing it, you know, it's your thing, and you're like, yeah, this is good stuff, you know. And every musician's going to say that this is really good stuff. I'm doing it, you know. This is my shit. But that doesn't speak for what the masses are going to say when they hear it. But then at the same time, you're the one writing it. It's not, you're not really concerned about that.
I can see how sometimes musicians might be a little too close to the painting. And of course, it's their work, you know, so they might have a little pride inside. But the producer, obviously, you shared a little earlier off camera that you guys are going to work with someone new on the back end and record in Chicago. Talk a little bit about that.
A little different step this time. We worked with Eric Rutan on the last 4 records, you know, and then we were just like, we wanted to try a different studio and just do something a little different and take a different approach, you know, on engineer, a mixer, because we got a lot of different little things that are going on, and we're doing it. We did the last record on 2-inch tape, and we're going to do this one on 2-inch 8 tape, and we're going to a studio that's in like Central Illinois called Earth Analog, and so we have that.
And that's later this year.
Yeah, that's in October.
You better take your fucking coats up there. You're freezing your asses off. We're complaining about the heat right now, but you'll be freezing your asses off in a couple months.
It'll be good.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you go to fucking Illinois in fucking December, January, that's when it gets painful.
And so obviously, how long do you anticipate being up there recording? By when would you like to be done?
We're scheduled to be up there for about like 3 weeks or so, and then from there, it's going to go to someone to mix. Yeah.
Do you know who that is at this point?
I really can't. There's a couple of different things. We're doing something a little different this time, just all around with everything. So I don't really have the information fully, but it'll unfold and things will come out. But I think it's in a way it's really unique, the approach we're taking with it this time. And I mean, I don't know how it's going to turn out with us taking this step, but you know, that's sometimes
we're going to find out. Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to do it, you know.
That's what it's all about, taking risks sometimes, and a lot of times.
It wasn't nothing against Eric Rutan, you know. We worked great with him for 4 records. It's just that I guess, you know, now we just need to take something a little different and do something a little different in general and take some different steps with some stuff. But he definitely was in there and worked with us really hard with the last 4 records and got us to that zone, you know. So it's not like we're just, oh, fuck off, Eric, we're never using you again. It was just a thing, and we talked to him about it. We were like, you know,
I know you guys are friends.
Yeah, we worked together with these. We just want to do something a little different this time, and he was really cool about it, man. I mean, he understands. He knows.
It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, what about lyrically, Ben? Can you share anything at this point? What direction your lyrics are going? You've always had. We all know it's all dark and evil and occultish and you know, murderous. But any kind of subdivision of that?
It's pretty much on the same. It's all like I said about influences. Whatever's like recently, you know, my thing. Whether it's reading or, you know, even visually, I take influences. Like
what kind of things are influencing you at the moment? Then would you say?
There's different little books I'm reading and different art stuff I'm looking at, you know, and like I like to look at art and then basically write lyrics based on my ideas behind the art, and I do stuff like that. And then, you know, it's all mixed in things. It's all like, some of it's like tongue-in-cheek shit, like with religious stuff, but then some of it's like serious in a sense and goes into a deeper aspect of things, and then some of it is like kind of like horror induced, you know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily like a realistic thing, it's like a horror movie in a sense, but just coming out in words.
I'm almost afraid to ask you, but you know, with what we see happening in our world, you know, especially with, you know, the presidential campaign and all of the, you know, hoopla that's going around that, and you know, obviously, are those kind of? Do you think about some of those things, or
we're not really a political bank, and we don't deal in politics.
Even aside from the politics, but just, you know, the threat of war and some of the things that, you know, that
war's always been there. It's just, I think it's the thing is now it's more publicized, the way, you know, everything is with news and Twitter and Facebook and everything. It's like every little thing. It's funny because, okay, they always showing all this negative shit, but what about all the positive shit that's going down? So when you constantly throw negative shit out there, but then people get desensitized from it, and then they're just like, oh, here we go again. It's this bomb went off here. Oh, here we go again. This went off here. So it's, you know, the threat is there. Just put it this way. There's fucked up people in the world. Shit's always going to happen. Something fucking crazy is going to happen. Why'd you look at him like that? But you know what I'm saying? You know, like,
because I was gonna say, I think you have one in your bag.
Don't do that. You're gonna put us on the radar for shit, man. Come on. We don't need no problem crossing borders, man.
Got your passport. Don't get your passport. Okay, so great, guys. So the record will come out hopefully in the spring of the new year. What are your plans after that? What do you kind of would like to do in support of this record? And I know you guys are road dogs, man.
Pretty much like we do now, you know, and just tour. Maybe do some different tours with some different bands we you know, we really get into and that we'd like to have out with us, or possibly get on a bigger tour supporting someone that I mean, basically at this point we've kind of supported a lot of bands that we grew up on that we never thought we would fucking play for, you know. We never thought we'd play with Venom, and we did that. We never thought we'd play with Celtic Frost, and we did that. Never thought we'd play with Emperor, we did that. Exodus, you know, the list just, it tumbles along. I think only at this point maybe we'd say, well, if we go on tour with Slayer, then that would kind of, or
be full circle.
King Diamond, or, you know, then it'd be full circle in a certain sense.
Okay.
Then it'd be like bucket list is full. It's done. It's over.
Our careers are over.
So that'd be cool, because then when they have like one of these like really big metal bands that, you know, we're really not into, and they go, y'all want to come out? We go, no, we did it with all the bands we really like.
You want to go out with Hell Yeah?
Why are you being rude like that, man?
Because I'm not like you. I'm not afraid to hurt people's feelings.
It's your people, man. It's your people. Support your Texas people, man.
That's right. If I was European, I wouldn't be saying that shit.
If you're European, you can get away with saying that shit.
Okay, so you guys will tour, obviously, in support of the new record. But one of the things, I mean, extensively tour. One of the things I also want to say about GOATWHORE is that two things. One is, I think, you know, the band, you know, obviously has built this really strong fan base. But one of the things, too, that I also respect about the band is that you guys just have so much respect from your peers, too. There's a lot of metal bands out there that love GOATWHORE. And sometimes I'll wear my GOATWHORE shirt and I'll be interviewing someone and say, oh, fucking GOATWHORE. People know GOATWHORE. People love GOATWHORE. Talk, you know, and not all bands have that kind of respect from their peers.
That's actually awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
all the time.
I mean,
Even though my GOATWHORE shorts from 1999, I haven't gotten a new one since 1999. I might pick a new one up tonight.
I mean, we have you know, we know a lot of people like kind of like Gary Holt, of course, and people like that, and it's just like, and it's cool because it's like, wow, this is somebody I was listening to when I was growing up, and now like he appreciates what we do as a band, you know, or somebody like Nick Barker that played drums in Cradle of Filth and Dimmu Borgir. I mean, back when we weren't really heard of in Europe, Nick Barker was like talking to all this stuff about us, you know, and you telling people, you haven't fucking heard GOATWHORE, you know, da, 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 da. So it's like you had these people that you were like when you were growing up, you were listening to them doing shit, and you're like, holy shit, these people fucking appreciate, the kind of path we're taking in things.
Band out of New Orleans.
One of the only black metal bands out of New Orleans.
And,
There's a
couple of others.
Not many, but there's a couple.
They're right on your coattails.
They got a lot of good bands coming out of there right now. There's a lot of...
Let's talk about that.
A lot of young generations starting to sprout up in the New Orleans scene, and they're fucking got bands that are really fucking good, man.
So for all those people out there who are not from the South, not from New Orleans now has evolved from the sludge metal town. It's more becoming. Yeah, it still has that. But I mean, but obviously, what do you guys feel? I mean, I know you guys are really proud, New Orleans residents. What's happening in the metal scene in New Orleans?
There's a bunch of good bands coming out. We have Abysmal Lord,
Fat
Stupid Ugly People are awesome. Witch Burial's badass. Gas Miasma is awesome. What's the name of that? Grave Ritual's badass. What's that other weird band that has a satanic temple? What? There's a band. They're like grave robbers. Like they're serious about this shit. What the hell is their name? Mahomet. Yeah.
And what about clubs?
We have Siberia. We have Siberia, basically.
Poor
Boys is all right.
We have One-Eyed Jacks. It's cool now because we do have venues at different size shows. Where we used to have like House of Blues and then the small little crappy place, hole in the wall. Now we have like this variance of all those things. And it was a lot of like Siberia and Poor Boys is a guy that's been in a scene. He's been in some crazy fucking bands in the New Orleans area, and he kind of built those things up and really got them to a point, which is great. But the scene is definitely it's always been very fluctuant, and
it goes. It's like they'll have a bunch of bands, and then they'll break up.
Yeah.
And then there won't be a bunch of bands for a long time, and all of a sudden a bunch of new bands will just form out of different people coming into the scene, or other dudes from other bands joining together. It's always been like that there. It's weird.
Well, isn't that what happened with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it
kind of happened with you guys.
It's just now it's like a younger, like I said, well, it's not even that because there are still some old, like Mountain of Wizard has a bunch of, it's kind of mixed with dudes that were older in the scene and some younger dudes in the scene too. So you have aspects of that as well.
And let's talk about that because obviously, Ben, I remember you. I don't know if you remember. I interviewed you back way in the day in Soil and Green.
I remember.
Sammy, same thing. Crowbar days. I mean, there was a time, obviously, when GOATWHORE was just kind of like a side project for you guys, and then it became this full-fledged band. What made you kind of realize that said, we should really make GOATWHORE our number one priority and just focus on GOATWHORE? And now look at all the kind of success that you've kind of garnished from that decision.
I don't think we meant to have it as a side band. Like it wasn't meant that. It was just kind of pushed in that direction because at that time he was doing Crowbar so much, and then I was doing Solent so much. So it kind of took away from putting more time into it. And then when those two aspects, like when he left Crowbar and then when Solent stopped doing so much because Brian was doing things with I Hate God, then it opened the gate more for GOATWHORE to do more stuff. I don't think we ever had to intentionally be like, this is not going to be doing anything because this is going on.
It wasn't the strategic plan. It just happened.
It just kind of happened,
yeah.
And I love when that happens.
Yeah, look, it's such a beautiful thing. I mean, because now
the gate opened up, and then we were just like, go.
Like, do it, go,
don't
stop.
It was like a horse that was ready to run, and it was a gate open. It was just like, go, just go.
And you haven't stopped. It doesn't seem like you've stopped for quite a while.
We stop sometimes. People just never notice.
I remember Sammy was upset because he wasn't going to see Goblin. Remember, you weren't going to be able to see. You had to get back to New Orleans. He said, I'm not going to be able to see Goblin.
Yes. I was not happy about that at all.
I mean, this year, dude, we haven't really done that much as far as touring.
Just a few shows here and there.
We did some stuff in February for maybe 2 weeks. We went up to Toronto to go do this. It was the booking agent company, Inertia Entertainment. That's in Toronto. Wanted us to do this 25th year anniversary thing, and we went up there and did that. And we did shows up and back, and then we went to Canada to do this little one-off show, and We did Europe for 2 weeks, and then that's it. And then this thing. So we didn't really do a lot of like touring. It was mostly like get together, working on ideas for writing and everything like that. Yeah. I mean, you have to step. We don't. If we tour a lot, we don't get no writing done because we come home, and if we're home for 2 weeks in between tours, it's like you come home and then you're like kind of decompressed slightly, and you get back into that thing, and it's like by the time you're like ready to do something, it's like, oh, well, we got to rehearse again the material because we're about to leave again in 4 days. Yeah. So we don't really sit down and start putting together new stuff at those times.
Yeah. Great. I'm glad that kind of time period is just about done. You guys are going to release a new record. One last thing before I let you guys go. I mean, I think this past year, too, I've always enjoyed all the videos you guys have done. And usually when I see a GOATWHORE video, I expect to see you guys fucking rocking out. And the last video that you did, I felt was like the best one that you guys have ever done. Is video work still something that you enjoy doing?
No.
No? No. Why not? Why not, Sammy? Why don't you dig it?
It's funny. That last one was really rough.
Yeah.
Why? Tell us about it.
Let's just say, how can
don't be nice.
I had a rough night the night before.
Oh, God.
Let's put it that way. And I showed up 2 hours late to the video shoot because I was sleeping. Yep, we were still sleeping.
Oh, God.
Because we got home the night before at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and we went out that night at like 10 o'clock at night. It was one of those nights. Yeah. And we had to shoot the video the next day in the House of Shock with no air conditioning in the summer with fucking infested with fucking fleas.
Oh, God.
It was fucking miserable.
At the House of Shock?
Yes,
Is that
it's a haunted house.
Wow.
A haunted house in New Orleans. They let us come in there and film. They have a bunch of crazy sets and shit. Instead of just going in some fucking warehouse or something, boring shit, we could go into the haunted house and pick out some cool looking shit and shoot it in there. Makes us look all evil.
And sweaty.
Yeah. And flea bitten.
They didn't have to spray you down. You were already fucking sweating balls. Over.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Little like paint buckets on each end, and the people will throw up.
Threw up like every time you'd say cut. I was like, ugh.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a rough one. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Well, hopefully there was a lesson learned there.
Nope.
Never gonna learn. Probably do it again tonight.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Why not? You're in San Antonio. It's a Monday night. What better night to do it? Well, we're going to continue our festivities. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I don't want to take up that much time. I got to get you guys back to the venue. Anything I missed? Any last words for the people around the world who will see this interview?
I think we covered it, man. I think we did really good.
We're good, Sammy?
Yeah. Are you good?
I'm good. I'm very happy.
He's looking at me all weird, dude. I don't know about this dude. He can't keep his hands off of me.
It's always been like that, all 20 years that I've known you.
Something like that.
Something like that. Remember, everyone out there, the brand new GOATWHORE is coming out on Metal Blade Records in the spring. Be sure to keep your eyes and ears open for it. You will definitely hear about it from us here at the program. You saw Sammy and Ben of GOATWHORE right here on Rob's MetalWorks.